Oh, so good morning, everyone. I'm Bart, and I would like to welcome you with another Technology and Renewables series today. And today I have a pleasure to welcome with us Thorsten Heller, CEO of Greenbird. Thorsten, really great to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice meeting you. Great to see you again. Long time ago, isn't
A
it?
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Thorsten, you and I, we met around 5 years ago-ish, I think so. Time flies really fast. And it's been really amazing seeing how you guys are becoming more busier and more busier. And I think there is a good reason for that that is directly basically connected with energy transition. But you guys are working mostly with utilities and energy companies to help them manage and integrate their data from the various systems, and basically to help them to use them in the real time for the real time decisions. And so I'm wondering, and before we're going to go into the details, you guys, I think I did a bit of a homework. You set up your company around 2010. So I wonder how your idea have changed, since the time you've actually set it up to where you guys are in today. Because I think it was it's a decade, I would say.
Oh, yeah. It's a long journey, isn't it? Yeah. And the interesting thing is, as you said, Bart, we started Greenbird in 2010, but the business idea to build Greenbird and our platform, UtiliHive, the business idea was already created in 2005, 2006. So it's even longer if you think
Oh,
about it.
wow.
The
Okay.
reason for that, you might know that the Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, we have been quite early in deploying smart meters. We have been quite early in using smart sensors, IoT devices to manage the grid in a smart way. And me and my co-founders, we have all been working as system integrators for many different utilities in Sweden and Norway. And every time when we came back during the weekend and we met and we had maybe a glass of wine or beer, and I would ask my friends, what have you done this week? They would tell me, oh, I had to integrate another meter vendor. I had to integrate another billing system. I had to integrate another MDM system. What have you done? And then I had to say, oh, I had to integrate another head-end system, another MDM system, another work. And the only difference was one of the guys was running on Oracle, the next guy, the old times, still on a BA environment.
Sure. Yeah.
Next guy was developing on Microsoft BizTalk, and I was running a open source project on MuleSoft. So I and my co-founders then thought that is nonsense. So let's try to build a platform, and that is exactly what became UtiliHive. Let's build a platform, an integration platform where we can solve the commodity challenges that each utility has, like integrating with different sensors, integrating with different meter types, integration with MDM, billing, work order management, asset management. Let's build a platform that provides these commodity kind of
Mhm.
integration challenges out of the box. And that was the business idea. And that's how we started out in 2010.
And 10. So,
Uh,
so tell me, I'm really curious, from your perspective, the utilities and energy transition back then, even 2012, 13, and 10 years later, which is 2023, where we are right now. Do you see that any difference in terms of the needs and trends? And obviously, as you mentioned, there's a certain geographical areas
yeah.
that work better when it comes to innovation and smart metering implementation and government programs like
Exactly.
demand response, frequency response,
Yeah.
and other programs as such to help manage demand and supply of energy. But from your perspective, like do you see any difference, a couple of years ago and where we are right now?
Yeah, I see several huge differences. So one of the differences before we talk about technology, or maybe when we talk about the drivers like energy transition, but one of the big challenges, and I'm quite sure you see it too, the skill set and the people we are talking to in the utilities have changed completely. 10 years, 12 years ago, usually you would meet with the manager of the grid division, and he was a former, let's say, electro engineer. Now, when we meet people, you see in the management more people that are IT people. You see more people with a digital background. That is one of the things which is quite interesting, because 10 years ago, 12 years ago, the people we talked to were mostly coming from the field of electricity. Grid engineers that made their career in the organization, but they had a heavy focus on, let's say, the physical network. Today, when you look at the management of most utilities we speak to, there is always a chief data officer. There's a chief digital officer. You have more IT people, because everybody nowadays understands, of course, that data is the most important thing for utilities. By the way, fun story. Did you know 100 years ago what CEO meant? That was the chief electricity officer. So
Yeah, really? Okay.
100, 200 years ago, you would have a CEO, chief electricity officer, and his main focus was to leverage electricity to increase productivity in the organization. And that is exactly the CDO today, the chief data officer. It's exactly the same role. So the most important person in a utility today is the CDO, the chief data officer, leveraging data to build all of these new models. So one of the big changes is indeed the skills, the people, or who is managing the company now.
So we have already established that the data is critical, and it's really, crucial to obtain the data over there. So can you explain me, from your perspective, why is it so hard to actually get out of those data, in the current environment? I mean, like utilities, has been around for so many years, and right now we are talking about, oh, we should have a real-time data and things like that. But it's been so long. So what's the issue? What's the challenge when it comes to this area of quality real-time data gathering that will be used in digital transformation of energy?
Yeah, one of the reasons I believe is exactly what we already discussed, that the people that have been responsible to implement the solutions, to, let's say, architect the solutions, were mainly from grid engineers. So there was a heavy focus on business, and that means from an architecture point of view that many of the utilities just implemented some kind of solutions, but integration, how to make automated processes, how to enable a real-time data flow 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, that was not necessary at all. So what we are finding today is quite often the silo application portfolios still today. That is one of the things why it's so hard to get it work. The other thing is, of course, when you look at the utilities from a software or data point of view, there hasn't been that much innovation from an application point of view. So you are still finding the same big players, and they serving a huge amount of utilities. But these kind of monolithic applications, they were built for the business needs a utility had 15 or 20 years ago. And now we are suddenly, within 1, 2, 3 years, we are moving into real-time data business. Suddenly, we get more and more electrical cars. We get distributed energy resources, and the grid companies have to balance the network in real time, but they are running an application stack that originally was designed maybe 20 years ago. And I think that is one of the big challenges, that most of the applications, when I think about ERP systems, asset management system, GIS systems, they were built with requirements that were 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So utilities have really to invest now in the application to build an application landscape for real-time data. So that is one of the challenges, of course, we are seeing, that many utilities are running an application stack that was designed many years ago, or that was designed for requirements that are many years old. And I guess you see exactly the same too.
We do, yes. So let's explore this concept in terms of what you guys are doing in Greenbird, because that's really interesting, because your modus operandi is basically to exactly help and solve this problem.
Yeah.
So that at the end, utilities can actually have those real-time data so that they can utilize them to manage their activities, to optimize the energy balancing within their grids, in correlation with renewable energy sources as well, to balance the capacity of the network. So what's the Greenbird's role like? So do you provide them with the tools, and obviously you are trying to do the integrations, you're doing the integrations. Can you explain what's your typical then setup towards such a utility is? Do you connect with those smart meters and the different data sources, and you provide the platform that is on site, or is it a cloud service? I mean, you've been building this for so many years, so so I consider you one of the top experts within this area. So can you just share a bit of a insights, so that we can learn a little bit more? How do you guys operate, and how do you bring this value to utilities?
So what we have built is, you can think about our platform, UtiliHive. Think about it, first of all, like what the old guys would call a middleware, or what some people would call an ESB, an enterprise service bus. You could call it an integration platform. But we have built this platform purpose designed for utilities. And that means that we have built this platform with some technical capabilities which are extremely important for utilities operating the future grid. I give you some examples. Future utility will have a lot of data, a vast amount of data. And nobody really knows today how much data they will have in the future. So one of the capabilities your platform, your integration and data management platform must provide is elastic scalability. Because you don't know, I don't know how resolutions in the smart meters are changing. I don't know, nobody knows how many smart sensors we will have in the network, how many intelligent devices, how much behind the meter technology will get into the network. So as I said, elastic scalability, extremely important. Another element that is extremely important, also in the future, the utility will operate critical infrastructure. So you always have this OT-IT integration challenge, because some of your applications will have to be operated in a secured zone, like your SCADA, your ADMS maybe. On the other side, you want to have more and more data running in a cloud to leverage all the advantages from a secure cloud infrastructure. So you need a platform that can handle a secure OT-IT integration too. And the last element I could, of course, describe even more. You as a utility, or many utilities, are heavily regulated. So you need a platform where you are flexible in case of regulations are changing. I give you an example. Let us assume you are using metering data, you aggregate metering data with data from your GIS to create real-time insight into your low voltage, mid voltage network. And for any given reason, the regulators in your home country or in your region require that smart meter data is sensitive and has to store in a private or in an on-prem environment. then as a utility, you need the flexibility to just switch like that the deployments. Those kind of technical capabilities is what we have built into the Utility Hive platform. And what we then have done in addition to that, we have then used our own platform to provide a set of accelerators, pre-configured integration applications, data services that give you as a utility a head start when you want to move into this new data-driven world. So that means we provide
So
you.
can you give an example of like one accelerator that a certain utility can use it? Because I assume this is a second level of kind of a value you're bringing on the table, right? One is the platform, and once you got this platform, you're hooking up all of the data sources into one big platform, and then you are saying, hey, by the way, we've actually got those pre-configured apps that then you can use. And for example.
Yeah, I give you two examples. Simple example is we provide a huge library of pre-configured adapters to the most commonly used utility applications in the market. So if you are a utility and you are operating different kind of smart meters, let's say Idron, Skymeco, Landis+Gyr, Sagemcom, you name it. Maybe you even have a mix of different meter vendors for commercial, industrial, residential. So we are providing a huge library of pre-configured adapters to different head-end systems, to different meter data management systems, Energy IP from Siemens, Schneider MDM, Oracle MDM, Energy Works, different billing system. So we provide pre-configured integration to the most commonly used utility applications in the market. That means if you want to access the data, you are much faster because you already have the templates in place. But what we also provide is higher value services. We also provide a simple application that we call Mon Ami. Mon Ami is a French word, means my friend, but what it really means is we are using AMI data to monitor the low voltage, mid voltage network. How do we do that? We are using data from the smart meters, and we set the data from the smart meters in context with data from your meter data management, from your asset management, from your GIS. And now I can create real-time insight and transparency what is happening in your network. And that is extremely important if you want to identify bottlenecks, if you want to identify how EVs are influencing or impacting the infrastructure. And those kind of accelerator, this Mon Ami is just one example. We have another accelerator that helps you to monitor your entire smart meter operations. We have another accelerator that helps you to manage market communication, switching processes, things like that. But those kind of accelerators, they are meant to give you a head start. So you as a partner, you as a utility would use these accelerators. You get a lot of out-of-the-box value from them, but you would configure, adapt them, customize, add functionality specific to the utility.
Which makes sense, and thank you for clarifying. So Greenbird as a middleware platform, as we can say, I think the value for the utilities is pretty much clear from what we've discussed, what you described. Have you guys been thinking about? Because I assume you're in a position where it's tempting to figure out a bit of a spin-off for the different business models. Like, for example, jump into a demand response or managing the loads, or like peak shaving, load balancing. Have you guys thought about this as well, and as a next part of your platform? It sounds like you've got everything very much well established to build the groundworks for becoming kind of a VPP for a certain kind of level of operations.
Yeah, Interesting question, and the answer is yes, we have thought about, but we are not doing it. And I tell you the reason. From a strategic point of view, our vision is to be the number one energy-ready iPaaS integration platform as a service in the market. What we have done is we have enriched the iPaaS capabilities, integration capabilities, with a lakehouse architecture that is optimized for utilities. That means whenever I'm handling a data integration or system integration in my platform, you can configure that the data is stored into my data lake. Then I'm running pre-processing and pre-process data in utility and energy optimized data marts, lakehouse architecture style. But what we are not doing strategically is to develop those kind of analytic services that sit on top of our platform. Why? Because we want to be the data foundation. We want to be the platform company that simplifies for you, for the utilities, for our partners, how to access data, how to set data into context, how to harmonize data, and how to access data in a unified way across these different lakehouse data marts. But we don't want to be the analytics company. So
Sure.
What we are doing is we are heavily into the market. We are watching and we do a lot of research. We work together with a lot of partners for all these new data-driven use cases you talked about. Flexibility, DER management, smart EV charging, behind the meter aggregation or disaggregation of consumption data. What we are doing, we are providing the platform, the architecture to enable these use cases with an optimized data integration hub kind of a platform. But we are not providing the analytics applications on top. And that was a strategic decision we have done in the company because we want to be the number one integration platform and we want to enable those kind of models.
Thank you for clarification, and it makes sense. So, Thorsten, wrapping everything up, because we're kind of approaching an end of our discussion.
Yeah.
What is it, in next for Greenbird within upcoming year or two? Are you planning? I saw that you guys have released a new version of a platform. I think yesterday I saw in an announcement. So what are your big plans? Within the upcoming time.
We have two, from a product point of view. First, we have two major directions. On the one side, and that is what you talked about, what we announced yesterday, we are continuously adding new kinds of those accelerators, pre-configured integration applications, where the focus is on providing frameworks, components for challenges that all of the utilities have to solve. So in the roadmap, we will almost every quarter will be release a new kind of these accelerators. And by the way, the accelerator you spoke about, Bart, that was exactly this market communication module. When you want to integrate to regional data hub, or you have a market communication where you have to exchange switching processes and orchestrate those things, that is one of the accelerators we have now built into the UtiliHive platform to configure that. So on the one side, it's continuously providing additional accelerators that accelerate the energy transition. From a technical point of view, we have a heavy focus on real time. That means I believe that smart meters today, 15 minutes, most of our clients are operating 15 minutes, but I guess one day we're going to be at 5 minutes interval reads. But what I already see today is that more and more of the utilities also establish a real-time channel, meaning sensor data that almost comes in real time to balance. So we are adding more and more capabilities for real-time analytics in the platform. We are adding more and more capabilities to the platform, that the platform can identify IT challenges in the platform using those kind of mechanisms. From a company point of view, we have a heavy focus, of course, on building our partner network. We are a platform technology company. So the projects, the implementation is mainly done by our partners or by the utilities itself. So we are a platform provider, and our next big thing, or what we are working and focusing on, is recruiting more system integration partners that want to implement solutions on top of the Utility Hive platform. So in each of the different regions worldwide, we are working with utility, not optimized, but utility-focused system integrators, heavy focus on energy, heavy focus on utility, but also an integration and data mindset that would use our platform to implement solutions. So the partner network is one of our most important.
So I do have questions, a follow-up question on that. Out of those, utility applications, do you see any specific trends, or do you see any specific, mostly common, ask integration that utilities are performing nowadays?
Yeah. One of the trends we are seeing is OT-IT. That means that many cases we are discussing with utilities is that they want to bridge the gap between the OT network, SCADA, IDMS, with the IT network, meaning they want to enrich the SCADA experience, the ADMS experience with data from IT, from the meters, from the sensors, and vice versa. That is one of the big trends we see, but that is also, I understand it, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to manage the network. You will get too many bottlenecks. And if you want to create a move to a flexibility market, you have to do OT-IT. That is one of the big trends. The other big trend we are seeing is that many of our utility clients have started to think about smart meter and smart meter data in a kind of a different way. So they look at the smart meter data to be a commercial data stream, because that is what you use for billing, for settlements, things like that. But many of our utilities have started to think about a second kind of data stream that is not used for commercial things, but that is used for flexibility, DR integration, grid management, meaning sensors, meaning real-time data, also via dongles from the smart meters. It's not used for billing, it's not used for commercial, so you don't have the same requirements from a commercial point of view. But this kind of data, they must implement the data stream and handle to be able to move towards to the energy transition. So those kind of integrations where we combine the commercial data stream with this new, what I call sometimes the grid management data stream or the real-time data stream, that is one of the biggest trends I see at the moment, that utilities start thinking about, I have two streams to manage, commercial and grid management. And we want to be the platform that enables you as a utility or as a partner to manage both data streams in a smart way, make the data available, so we are much faster jointly to drive the energy transition.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thorsten, thank you for your time. It was a huge pleasure, having you here, and I'm looking forward to see you in person in an upcoming conference.
I guess Paris.
100% here.
I'm quite sure the latest in Paris, Edlit, we're gonna be, I guess, maybe at eWorld. I don't know. Let's see, but we're gonna be it for sure. Yeah.
We're going to be there for sure. So thank you very much. And guys, for everybody that wants to get to Greenbird, it's obviously, you can Google it, but go directly to www.greenbird, as it is on Thorsten t-shirt.com, and you can find more information over there. Thanks again, and
Thanks a
have
lot.
a good rest of the day. See you
You
around.
too. Nice.